All right, we ready? Welcome to Garage 93. You guys asked, so we're here to deliver. Welcome to the Garage 93 Workshop Tour. So I'm gonna start off with some of the heavier equipment that leaves the handheld realm. At the door, we have the air compressor, followed by the parts washer, the bench grinder, and then the Wilton vise. So for the air compressor, I went with the Ingersoll GarageMate setup. This thing is awesome because you can run it on 110, but it's a twin piston setup and the tank size is good enough for most of the things I do in here. Set up on a cord reel. I have a lot of air-powered things here, including the lift, die grinders, all types of tools like that, so this setup is perfect. So next to it, I have the parts washer. I don't use this every day, but it definitely comes in handy for when I'm taking old projects in the door, especially for the bike build series. It helps me keep the mess all in one place. It's got a flow-through brush with some solvent, along with some Scotch-Brite and dipping baskets. You know, it just contains the mess in one solid area. Underneath that, one thing I'm pretty excited about, I have one of these Karcher pressure washers, and with this setup, I actually have it so that it's always hooked up. So all I need to do is connect a hose, fire it off, and it eliminates a lot of the setup work that keeps you from using the pressure washer. So this right here is the all-in-one power cleaning station. Next to that, I got the bench grinder. This thing's awesome. You know, a lot of what I do on it is just grinding little brackets, fabrication work, deburring. But on refinishing and such, I use this wire wheel all the time. So I've had this now 5 years. Flick it on, awesome asset to the shop. Have it on a pedestal stand, alcohol always locked and load. COVID era, it's something that we gotta get used to using at this point, so might as well have it close to the door. Next to that, we have the trash can. Cool little story behind it. When I do the opening ceremonies for MotoGP, I often get to come home with some spare fuel that the teams don't want to transport. So after I drink that fuel through the freestylers, I turn them into trash cans. It works perfect, dual purpose for tire changing as well. I've made some for friends here and there, and it's a cool little story piece to the shop. So this right here is something I'm pretty proud of. It's a Wilton vise. It's new because during the last Project 2-stroke build, the vise that I had previously, I broke the neck off it trying to press the seal out of the shock head. And this right here is a buy once, cry once deal. I'll never need one of these ever again, so super happy I made this addition to the shop. Behind the vise, I have the charging station for my cordless tool system that I use across the shop. And that's about the only thing I let sit atop of the stainless bench because I try to keep this clear at all costs because this is supposed to be a working zone for when I have projects that I'm in the middle of. Underneath is where I keep all my common use chemicals. There's some obscure ones that I keep in bins out back, but this is what I use often. I've been trying to eliminate as much aerosol as possible, so right now I use rechargeable acetone brake cleaner dispensers for a couple different uses across the board. And of course, we have the fridge that gives the workshop its wings. That's right next to my tabletop organizer. This right here has anything from my wallet to earplugs to keys in it. And then I also have more specifically some of the specialty motorcycle parts like banjo bolts and master links and things like that that I find myself using on many different projects. And then right here, what you'll notice is basically continuing checklists, to-do lists of things I have going on all the time. The beauty about Sharpie on stainless is that you can just wipe it off with alcohol. So I basically treat this as a whiteboard of my to-do list of things that I have going on at the shop at all times. And that's backed up to this set of organizers here, which is a little bit more hodgepodge, but I at least accumulate washers, Allens, things like that that end up there. And this is what I would call kind of a work in progress wall. If I have some things coming up or maintenance that I'm gonna be actually using the parts soon, I'll put them up on the wall. And then right below that, this table right here is a dedicated project specific table. So if I'm working on the CT project and that's coming in the door, this needs to be empty because for the duration of the project, this is dedicated to just that, to keep from any parts mix-up that I may have, because nothing is worse when you have multiple open projects or builds and then you're not sure what came from where. So I try to keep this specifically dedicated to the task at hand. Behind that, this right here is the main box. This has most of the hand tools that I continuously use that aren't up on the wall. Over time, I've organized this to the absolute nth degree, and it's one thing that I'm pretty prideful of at this point. Obviously, it didn't start out like this, but I've been collecting tools a long time at this point. So it's kind of one of those things that every single tool has its place, and I'm never caught searching for any of them because I know exactly where it's at. The back wall has a lot of common use tools on it, just from wrenches, hammers, mallets, scissors, Allens, Torx, things that I find myself commonly grabbing at. So between the tools on the back wall and in the main box, I feel pretty efficient on how they're laid out. It took a while to get there, but I'm definitely happy with the setup now. Right here is what I'd call my little office, notebook, laptop, kind of how I have to handle my mornings, emails, catch up on that side of things, which I'm less proficient at than working on bikes and such. Over here to this side, this is where things get a little bit more homely. I try to kind of consider this office-like area. Have a pretty incredible collection of all the DVDs that really got me inspired at a young age to start riding or at least chasing that professional dream. I definitely try to do my homework and re-watch those now with a different perspective. Helmets in queue, TV to entertain my daughter when she's out here and I'm working. Oh, it's for Sadie. Get in there. Where's Luna? Where's Luna? So the next piece of equipment I'm super excited about. It spawned from a conversation that I had with a buddy of mine that there's a lot of self-proclaimed bike builders out there that outsource their fab and welding work. And basically he stated that that makes them a bike assembler, not a bike builder. So I didn't buy one the next day, but fast forward a little bit and I just picked up this 210 EXT. It's a TIG welder setup with a small footprint that I should be able to do about as much as I'm gonna need for bracketry, subframe fabrication, repair work for TIG, aluminum, and steel. And hopefully you guys will get to watch my progression throughout the bike build series. I'm super green to this whole program, but I'm thorough with everything that I do, so I'm looking at excelling, and it's something I've wanted to get into for quite a long time, so I can't wait to start playing around with this thing throughout the series. One thing I learned quite quickly in LA, space is hard to come by, so you better organize your footprint. A label maker is everything. You may remember where things are in the long run, but it helps you get your order down. So basically, label everything, know where it's at. It saves far more time than it takes to actually cut the labels. So everything in here has its place, and that's exactly where it goes. I mean, maybe except the 10 mil, but at least everything in these bins have its place. We have chemicals and cleaners, extension cords, paint, spare parts for motorcycles that I have, electrical switches, brake lines, things that I'm in use all the time, or things that I use less, I put further and higher away. Back to this side, this is what I would call my material supply, hardware. Hardware is just invaluable whenever you're building or trying to put things together properly. So I have various assortments from all kinds of specialty hardware that slowly but surely I've purchased over the years. It makes a big difference not having to run back and forth to the hardware store just to pick up one bolt that you need to finish your project. From that point forward, we continue this way with a couple different storage deals, but obviously this crown jewel right here is my tire gallery. Very thankful to have a partner like Bridgestone within my program because I have a selection of track tires, freestyle tires, stuff for supermoto, stuff for the Indian FTR, specialty rain tires for when I'm doing indoor video projects or exhibitions on polished concrete. Below that, we have the rear stands and stands for when I'm working on the bike. And then this basically is the grab-a-bag. Each one of these, for the most part, is a different discipline. So if I want to ride moto, I grab this bag. If I'm going to ride the freestyle bike, I grab this bag. And then some is just old inventory. But for the most part, the 3 up front are the 3 that I need to grab to make my way out the door and onto my riding journey. As we get closer to the door, this stuff, which I find myself loading more often in the van, I have the generators, PA system, gas cans. A lot of that stuff is what I'd call event hosting. And I don't use this all the time, but I definitely need it whenever I'm doing on-site event activations and traveling. And that brings us all the way to the gear gallery. I love this. I couldn't be happier having a technical partner like Alpinestars for this. From my track suits that I get to wear, all the way to my street jackets that pair awesome on the Indian, to the freestyle jackets that I wear all the time for all my freestyle demo exhibitions, and then something for the California heat, something nice to just cruise around on the CT or the Grom with. Obviously footwear, that's what they're known for more than anything, and nobody does it better. Have a selection of motocross boots, trail, training, road race, and then a various different selection of the shoes and boots that I normally wear for both freestyle and casual applications. So I couldn't be happier having a selection or a closet like this for all my riding needs. And I honestly couldn't be any happier having a protection partner like Alpinestars. And as we get to the edge of the shop, one thing that I've been trying to do is keep the dirty processes outside the shop. So I recently got this table and I keep my belt sander and my sandblaster out here. What this allows me to do, set it up, hook up the air compressor, keep the dirty work outside. If I need to sandblast any parts and pieces, pre-Cerakote or just on the resto side. Then from there, break it down, put it back underneath, and that just kind of helps keep the dirty processes outside the doors of the shops. Sound is everything. We have the Kicker Bullfrog system all throughout the shop. Obviously using the vacuum just as much as any other tool in here because little metal shavings on toddlers' feet are not a highlight moment here. A lot of the motivation for keeping the shop much cleaner than most, honestly, is to make it a more enjoyable environment for the family. Motorsports is a family deal, so for us it's been fun figuring out how we can turn this into something we can all enjoy together when I inevitably have to spend a lot of hours out here. Thank you guys for joining me on a hot lap around the Garage 93 Proving Grounds. If you've seen me rip it, it came from here. But we got a little bit of sunlight left. I'd like to test a couple things on this bike before I put it away, as tomorrow we're taking in the fresh project for the next bike build series. So until next time, I'll catch you guys later.